Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya, Vishveshwarai Shiva Vishveshwarai, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya. Jatadharai Shiva Jatadharai, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya. Gangadharai Shiva Gangadharai, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya. Oh, what a beautiful morning here again. And welcome. We have to be very careful because during our day so many things comes into our lives and they take a part in our memory and our being, our very being. So the next morning, the most important thing for us to do, that we have to do, is to clear it out. So we want to start again with a fresh and a powerful mind, a divine mind. And by us joining me every morning here, this is exactly what we're doing. We're starting in a fresh, clear mind, beautiful mind. And this morning, let us do a prayer that is very powerful. And what the prayer is saying, oh Lord, give me that divine ear. These two ears that I have, so the worldly matters come into it. And but if you give me that divine ear, I will hear your sound in your silence. I will hear you, the voice, the silent voice that is inside of me already. I will listen to it. I wanted to listen to that voice, oh Lord. Give me that ear, so that divine ear. And these two eyes, they're the biggest receptacle for the mind, because so many things come through these eyes, and then based on what we see and what we hear, and this is what how we will react to the environment. This is what is going to make our mind. And the other three senses, so this is hearing, seeing, touching, smelling, and tasting. Whatever touches our skin, we'll react to it. Whatever we eat, the taste, that is how we'll determine our happiness. And what we smell, if we smell nice thing, it's pleasant. If we smell unpleasant, not good things, it's become unpleasant. So these five things make up our mind. So the prayer goes on to say, oh Lord, let me hear with the divine ear, let me see with the divine eyes, and also let these hands and these legs and all my faculties be for the welfare of the world. And let me collaborate with you to sustain and uplift all your creation to that place of consciousness, a place where we came from. And this is something I always remind you, because we take things for granted during the day, and that's why I remind you that you have to lift ourselves to this level. This morning, the prayer, let us do it again. Om Bhadrang Karnebhi Srinyama Deva Bhadrang Pashyemakshabhirya Jatraha Stirairangaistustavam Sastanovi Vyaseva Deva Hitam Yadayu Swasti no Indro Vrihastava, Swasti na Pusha Vishwadeva, Swasti nastaksho Arishtaneni, Swasti no Vrahaspati Dhadhatu. And the prayer is saying, okay, let us pray to all the gods, let them give us our energy or our wisdom. And hearing and seeing is Nama Rupam Jagat. The whole world is name and form. So this is a very powerful prayer. And it's given in the Upanishads, in the Mondak Upanishad. And this morning I just want to talk a little about that because it's a very important thing. And this is where the disciple, Saunaka, was asking Angiras, the 5th generation of Brahma, and the firstborn in that lineage was Atharva. And so this lineage is so powerful. But Saunaka was also a great soul. He was from the lineage of Bharadwaj, of the great gurus. So then, so Saunaka is asking Guruji, what is that one thing? Because there's so many things that we hear about. We listen to pravachan, we read the books, and so many things are coming to us, and they're very confusing. Too much information. But Guruji, tell me what's the one thing that if I know it, I'll know everything. The Guruji said, what a beautiful question. And Saunaka, there are two things. Aparavidya, the lower knowledge, and Paravidya, the higher knowledge. So I'll tell you what that thing is not, that you're asking, that one thing that if you know everything. I'm telling what it's not. And then he starts by his delivery. Tratra para yat Rik Ved, Shama Veda, Atur Veda, Shiksha Kalpo Vyakarnam Niruktam Chandi Jyotisham iti Yat Para. So he's saying, Arjuna, the Vedas and all the academic knowledge, it is not that knowledge that you're asking about. And then, but Saunaka in his mind, he's thinking, why is the Guruji telling me what it is not? This is the wisdom of the Gurus, that we have to go from the known to the unknown. So all of us, we know what we can see and what we can hear with these 5 senses. So this is what is known. But we have to move from the known to the unknown. So then all the academic knowledge to study what was created, that's in the Aparavidya. All that manifestation of consciousness, that's Aparavidya, the lower knowledge. And most of us, we know this. So here now, the Guruji is telling, what is that? Telling Saunaka that when you know this now, and he starts out, Yattad agrashyam agrayam achakshu srotram avarnam tadapani padam nityam vivum sarvagatim shushukshmam yat bhutayini yoni paripashyanti dhiraha. And the Guruji is saying, hey, that one thing, it has no origin. It cannot be destroyed. It has no hands or legs or ears or mouth, but it has all the faculties of the senses. And it's so subtler than the 5 elements. And of the 5 elements, the subtlest is space. So it's subtler than that. And then he says, from this knowledge, from this thing that you're asking, Yat Bhuta Yoni, from that everything came into existence. And then he explained the explanation for that. Yat Bhuta Yoni, from that womb, from that consciousness, everything came into existence. So this, devotees, this morning, this is a very important information. Because if we don't strive for that, the greatest sin that we encourage every day in our life is to live at the lower level and find we look for peace and everything there, but we'll never find it there. We'll never find it there. We'll find peace when we go to the higher stages. I was looking at one squirrel. He was moving around, coming close to me, almost on my foot. So sorry about that disturbance. After right, I guess the animals know when there's no danger. So then when the Guruji is telling the disciple Saunaka this, but there was still confusion in his mind, in the disciple mind. And then the Guruji would have said, he gave the example in the next sloka that, take for instance the spider, okay? The spider is so powerful. The spider, out of his mouth comes the web. And then he decides where he's going to build his house, when he's going to put his web. And he goes to the corner of the room and he puts one, he sticks it at one corner, moves to the other side and stick it and reinforce it in the middle. And then he makes circles, and then that's his house. And that house is going to trap all the insects that he's going to use he's going to eat. And so then he's getting understanding. And he says, look, from the dead ground, from this dead earth, all the trees are coming from Mother Earth. All the trees are coming. And from the living body, our body, the nail, the dead nail is coming out. From our body, the dead hair is coming out. And so this he's telling, look at this. This is how, when you have this knowledge, Saunaka, then this is what is going to liberate you. Devotees, this is a very technical thing. And for now, let us do adorations. The Surya Narayan will come back to it. How look at him reflecting in the water. Join with me. Om Bhara Bhava Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Om Bhara Bhava Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Om Bhara Bhava Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Adorations to Surya Narayan. And this mandir, let us think that we are in a beautiful mandir, and we are in satsang with all of nature, all of creation. We are in satsang with God's creation. There was a Christian saint, and his audience would have been the birds, and Francisca of Assisi. And you could see how the birds will come close to him, because he has lifted himself to that state where all of nature is in relationship with him. Well, this morning I want to ask you a question, and you think about it. Would you want to be a liberated soul like we described just now, when you go to that Paravidya, where you see God as consciousness, where God has no qualities? And this is what Krishna Bhagavan is telling me. Arjuna, the best way to know me is to come to me as consciousness, the womb of all creation. Now, would you want to be like the President of America or the Vice President of America? Or would you want to know this knowledge, this higher knowledge? Well, I'm sure you're going to choose. You want to know this higher knowledge. Because being in the President and Vice President of America or any country, what it is, that you will have to assimilate your thoughts in those positions. And you have to be like political. And in being political, it's a state of maneuver, because there's always an opposition, and you want to make yourself famous and righteous. But in anything in this world, in the law of knowledge, it is going to be a state of suffering, mental suffering. But physical suffering, Swami Parameshananda would have said that when we have physical ailments, body ailments, it's an austerity for us that will drive us to the place of wanting to know God, because then you would have realized that the body is not forever. And so this is a very powerful lesson that we should choose in our life, to assimilate our thoughts that we want to go to the higher planes. Let us not commit that sin of wanting to stay on this earthly plane, because at the end of this lifetime, what's going to happen? We're going to go to that place where there's a temporary holding in a subtle body, and we enjoy the good and the bad. But at the time of death, that time that the life force, the body would have fall off, that all-pervading life force, it'll be our designation what birth we take of the next time. But I know Swami Arupanandaji of Bharat SEVASHRAM, he was a direct disciple of Swami Parameshananda, and he would have taken care of him in all aspects. He was so blessed. And 2 weeks before he passed away, we were getting ready to go to Sabrimala for the medical relief for Ayappa Swamiji, and Matang Rishi Ashram and Mother Seri would have served. So before I went, he would have told me, though when I go to bow to him to take his blessing, because I know he's a realized soul, he says, no, go and bow to the Guruji, Swami Parameshananda. And I did, and then I bowed to him. But when we are coming back, make a long story short, why he told me that? Because he had the message, he had a calling from Swami Parameshananda, that Arupanandaji, you're going to join me. And that was his happiest day. Swami Dhruvanandaji, his sevak, he would have told me that when Swami Arupanandaji would have left his body. So 2 weeks after, indeed, we just returned, and I get to see him as they were carting him from the regular room into intensive care in the nursing home in Kolkata, and he would have waved his hand 5 minutes after he gave up his body. So my reason for telling you that, he was a liberated soul, and he doesn't have to come back, because he would have done what is necessary for him to be liberated. Are you doing what is necessary to liberate? Are we doing that? If not, then it's our own doing. We're making a choice that we want to come back into this world. Why do we want to come back here when we can go to that place where there's no suffering, that state of being where there's no suffering, because we have no physical existence, where the most powerful things is consciousness. It's all-pervading, omnipotent, all-powerful, omnipresent, all-pervading, omniscient, all-knowing. So devotees, let us not dilly-dally. Let us not take life for granted. Today, how would you spend your day? You're starting out very nicely, but how would you spend your day? Will you be lost in thoughts of worldly things, the lower knowledge, apara, or you will make a deliberate effort to go to the higher planes? Your choice is yours, and I hope you make it. Let us do adorations to Lord Shiva in the Shiva Lingam. Om Bhara Om Sri Guru Shivaya Namah. 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 Oh, Sri Guru Shivaya Namah. You know, if you have any weakness, it is because they're your thoughts. So today, Avoid any thoughts that weaken you. Your body will lose any time. Take care of it as best you can, but don't let it be a source of your unhappiness. Swami Parameshananda would have almost lost his body because he worked so hard and he knew it was time to leave. So the body took him as far as he wanted it to take him, and then he shed the body and he returned to that place of consciousness. While he was in the body, he would have been in that place of consciousness. He's looking at the ashram. He said, I'm guiding my ashram through behind the curtain. That's why I don't worry about ashram, because ashram, BHARAT SEVASHRAM, is in safe hands. Om Dhyana Moolam Guru Murti, Puja Moolam Guru Param, Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam, Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa. Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa. I see many of you are on this video. Blessings to you and your family and all who will be seeing it, and all the people of the world. Blessings, blessings. Hari Om. Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om.